Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel Decoding Your Coding. Today I bring a very unique problem which is asked in most of the FAANG companies. Recently, one of my friend had to solve this problem in Microsoft coding round. So let's go over the problem statement and understand what the problem is asking for. So problem says longest palindromic substring in a given string. So when a string S is given, we just need to return the longest palindromic substring in S. So for example, if the given string is BABAD, then we have to find out is there is a which one is the longest palindromic substring that we need to return. So in this case, BAB, which is a 3 character long palindromic substring that needs to be returned as answer, because apart from BAB, there is no other substring which is longer than 3 characters. So that's why our answer will become BAB. If we see the constraint, the length of the given string can be between 1 to 1000. So by seeing this, length is not significantly higher, and here our brute force approach might work. But just to remind you guys, we are preparing for FAANG and we need to make sure we will not write the solution which is worst in time complexity. We try to optimize it and we will work on our optimized solutions. And also, if we can see, S consists of digits as well as the English characters, and English characters can be the alphabets which are uppercase or lowercase both. So this is the requirement of the problem. Let's try to understand how do we need to solve it and what should be our approach so that we can get into FAANG. Let's move to the board and see how the approach will be. Let's take this particular example where BAB is the longest palindromic substring of a given string which is BABAD, right? So let's look at the worst way of solving this particular problem. So the one approach that I can think of top of my mind is using the brute force approach, where we will generate all the substrings of the given string. So how do we generate all the substrings of this particular given string? So we will have a two for loops, and using both the for loops we will generate all the substrings. Again, for each substring we need to make sure we are checking whether it is a palindrome or not, which will again take a O of n time. So here two for loops, and again for each substring it is O of n, then it will become the total worst case time complexity will be n cube. So I think if we solve with this particular approach, then we should forget about FAANG and we should start preparing for a samosa or a pani puri shop. So now, what should be our approach so that we get into FAANG? So the one particular approach that fascinates me is the expansion of substring from a particular point so that we find the palindromic substring. So how does that work, right? So let's just copy this and see how that works. So here, when I say we'll have a expansion, so basically we'll make sure we are having a indicator for odd and even substrings so that we generate the output which is the longest substring. So what do I mean here? So let's say I have a character or a pointer, let's say I, which is going from in the forward direction, that is going till the end of the string. So now what we can do is, as we move this character forward, then we will expand our substring from the left side as well as from the right side to find out, including this particular character, we will find out do we have any palindromic substring while expanding on left as well as on the right side. But the one question you can ask here is, when we have only one pointer pointing at one character, if we expand here equally and here, we will always get a odd number of characters in a substring, which could be a palindromic or not. So to solve this issue, the second variant of this will be, we will have two pointers in which I will be there, as well as, so there will be another pointer j, which we can use. So let's say the pointer I is here, and then we also have j, which will be pointing at b. So let's say I is pointing at a and j is pointing at b. So now again we will expand I in the left direction towards the starting of the string, and we'll expand j towards the end of the string, and we compare each of the characters. While doing so, we'll find out a even number or a even length substring, which could be or may not be a palindromic substring. So with this particular approach, we are basically trying to reduce the complexity from O of n cube to O of n square. As I initially mentioned, the constraints say length of the given string can be up till 1000, which will be okay for O of n square because it will be 10 power 6. Currently it is 10 power 3, 10 power 6. Generally in lead code, you have to make sure your solution is not 10 power 9 or above. Whenever it is less than that, you will be able to pass all the test cases, and you mostly for the given problem you would be able to write a performance solution. So now let's move to the whiteboard again. So here these are the scenarios that we need to take care in our particular case, and let's see how can we exactly code this particular problem on lead code. Let's move to the lead code board and see how can we start. So the minimum length of the string can be 1. So if there is any given string whose length is less than or equal to 1, we can just directly say that it is already having the minimum length, and we could say the same string will become the substring. So we'll just return the yes in that case. So now what is the other scenario? So other scenario is having expansion with one single pointer and two pointers. So how do we do that? Let's iterate through the string to find out how we can achieve that. So let's start the for loop from the 0th index, and we'll go till n, and then we'll increment the index. So now we need to find out the odd substring as well as a even substring. As I mentioned, right, there are two scenarios. In both the scenarios, we need to find out which is the maximum substring or a maximum length substring, which is a palindromic string. So yeah, here basically what we will do is we will find out there will be an odd substring, and we will expand around the same character, right? So the expansion will happen around the index I, and on string, uh, yes, the given string. So here, just for simplicity, I will have two pointers, but in the odd case, the pointer will be, the left and right pointer will be pointing to the same I, right? Now, if we go to the even length string, here the expansion should happen from I and then I plus 1. So side by side characters, and we make sure we are expanding around two characters so that we should be able to get a even length substring, which is a palindromic substring from yes. So once we get this particular even length substring, so we'll make sure we store our answer somewhere. So for example, we'll check if odd length is greater than our answer length, which is answer string, If that is the case, then answer will become the odd substring. Similarly, if even substring is there and we check that length, and if this length is greater than the answer length, then definitely our answer will change to even. So we'll take a string answer which will be initially empty, and that will get changed based on the calculated odd and even strings. So once this is done, we already have our answer stored in answer variable and we'll return that. So now the only challenge here is to write this expansion method, which is very simple part of this particular problem. So when we see here, so I'll just create a private method which returns a string called expand, and it takes three arguments. One is the left index, and again it is the right index, and then the string yes. So here the left index will go on the left side, so the left index will go on the left side, so we need to make sure the left index is moving towards 0 and the j index is moving towards n. So what we will do, we'll write the same condition here while the left index is greater than or equal to 0 and the right index is less than n, and the most important condition is we need to expand until and unless both left and right characters are equal. That means it is a palindromic string, right? Access that character at left and then compare it with the right character. So we make sure that at left and right there are same characters, then we can expand. So once this is confirmed, left will move towards 0, that's why we will decrease the left, and right will move towards n, so that's why we'll increase the right. Now so let's think about when this particular condition fails. So if this reaches, left reaches at the start of the array, or right reaches beyond the array or the string, or the one more important condition is if the characters match failed from left and right pointer. So if that happens, when it fails, when the character match fails, that means the left pointer, let's say it is at some character, and that character is not equal to right character. So we need to make sure we are sending the palindromic string which is before that left character. So how can we do that? So we will just return the substring from the left plus 1 because that matched, right? The left plus 1 matched, and then until right minus 1 it matched, because the last index will not be considered for the substring, right? It is excluded, so we can just write right here, and left plus 1 is included and we'll write left plus 1. So this particular way we are making sure that we are expanding in case of both even and odd length. And here the small trick to use here is, in case of odd length, the initial index for left and right will remain same. In case of even length, initial index of left and right will differ by 1. Let's run this program and see how it compiles. Okay, I could see both the test cases passed. Let's submit it and see how performant the solution is. Oh, I could see the solution is very performant. It is beating 49.76% of the lead code users on this particular question, and I think we did a great job. I hope I was able to explain this problem clearly. And just for the homework, there is one more approach which can be used to solve this particular problem with O of n time complexity, and it's a homework for you. Go through that particular solution and understand it, which is based on the expansion logic that we just now performed. Thank you so much. Have a great weekend. Enjoy. Happy coding. Subscribe to Decoding Your Coding.